Hi, Beaux Pilgrim here with Beaux Knows Insurance and Reed Insurance. Today I'm going to talk to you about the insurance advice that Dave Ramsey would give you. You know, we are a Dave Ramsey endorsed insurance agency or a Ramsey trusted agency. You know, we worked really hard to earn that accreditation and that endorsement for them. We earned that because a lot of the advice we give at our agency really follows closely in line the advice that he gives to his clients as well. You know, part of the equation there is to make sure that you're able to stay on your path for financial peace. And we believe that, and we help you to see how your insurance comes into play with that. So if you want to learn about the advice that Dave Ramsey gives you about insurance and how that comes into play with your desire to one day have financial peace. So the first thing that you need to understand about it, you know, the number one thing is going to be you need to get yourself an independent agent. We are an independent insurance agent. We work in the states of Louisiana, Texas, Arkansas, and Mississippi, and we are an independent agent. That means that we work for you. You are our client. We don't work for the insurance company. We represent a lot of different insurance companies, and we work for them as a contractor. But you are our client, and we work for you. So what we do is we talk to you, we understand where you're coming from, what your life situation is, and what your insurance needs are. We then look through the different markets that we have to find the best fit for you. You know, our number one goal is to make sure that you get the best fit for you. And because we have a lot of different insurance companies, we can typically find the best rate for you as well. So the number one thing that Dave Ramsey tells you to do is to get yourself an independent insurance agent. That's who he endorses. That's why we are one of those agents for him, and we work for you as an independent agent. So that's the number one thing. Number one thing is get yourself an independent insurance agent. The number two thing is protect yourself with higher liability limits. You know, many times other companies may just try to sell you based off of price, and that may compromise you. You need to know that you need to protect yourself and your assets by having higher liability limits. You know, there's several different types of policies that you buy, that you have now, or that you may need to buy. And the most inexpensive part of those policies is typically the liability part of it. You know, let's talk about one policy for sure, that if you own a vehicle, you have an auto policy, right? Well, you could buy the state minimum limits inside of the state, but that's not going to protect you. Because, you know, what's going to happen is if you have an accident where you're at fault, whether you mean to or not have an accident, if you don't have enough liability insurance, they're going to come after your personal assets. What does that mean? That means if you have the state minimum or even just lower liability limits, maybe 100,000 liability limits, you have an accident and you're deemed to be at fault. That policy pays its maximum limit. They're done. Then you need to get your checkbook out. And if you don't have that, they're going to come after your assets, which is like your home, your auto, and other things like that. Maybe your retirement, they may garnish your wages. So protect those things with a higher liability limit. The second part is going to be your homeowner policy. You know, we buy a home, and the thing that we think about is the amount of coverage we need to have on the house, right? Why do we think about that? Well, because the mortgage company is going to say, hey, you're buying it for this, you got to have at least this much on the house. And you don't even think about, well, what about the liability limit? Well, the liability limit, I'm going to tell you, is probably more important, because if you have a claim, again, that comes underneath your homeowner policy as a liability claim, if they max out that limit, they're going to come after your home. You know, I see all the time whenever clients that come to us and that we help them, that they may have a $300,000 house and they have $100,000 on their liability part. If they have a claim, they're going to lose their house. Don't let that happen to you. The next part is going to be an umbrella policy. Look, here's the deal. You may or may not have one now, but if you own anything, you need to have one. Typically, most auto policies and also homeowner policies, the highest limit they're going to give you is going to be $500,000. And you may think, oh gosh, that's a lot. And you may think, there's no way I would need any more than that. Well, maybe you won't. Maybe you will. You know, stop for just a minute and do a little personal inventory and think, okay, I want you to add up some numbers real quick in your mind as I sit here and talk to you. I'm going to give you some different items, and I want you to think about, well, how much are they worth? All right, well, how much is your home worth? Think about that. Well, how much are your vehicles worth? Add those to that number. How much money do you have in your savings account, your checking account, and in your retirement account? How much do you think you're going to earn over the next 5, 10, or 20 years? I bet you that was over $500,000 or over $500,000. I feel very sure that it's over that amount. If you have an incident that goes over your liability limit, they're going to come after your personal assets, which is all those different things I just listed. You can protect them very easily with an umbrella policy. You can buy umbrella policies of $1 million, $500,000, $2 million, $5 million, whatever you think you need. Now, I'm not going to tell you you need to get you a $10 million or a $5 million umbrella. You may or may not. But do consider at least increasing your liability on your auto and your home to the maximum that you can get, which is about $500,000, because the cost is so much less for that than it is for other things on your policy. Typically, you can trade off going to the highest limits on your auto or your homeowner by just taking a little bit higher deductible on your home or your auto for comprehensive or collision. It's an easy trade-off, and umbrellas typically are going to start at $100 to $200, maybe $300. If you don't own your home, buy a renter's policy. You can get liability insurance under there. So make sure you're protecting yourself and protecting your assets from being taken from you. Make sure you protect your dreams of one day having financial peace, or also maybe providing for your children so they can have a good education by protecting your assets and your earning capacity. Well, what are some ways that you can save? That's going to be the fourth thing. So, the number one is get yourself an independent insurance agent, because we're watching out for you. We work for you, not the company. Number two is choose higher liability limits. Number three is going to be get an umbrella policy. And number four is how can you save? Well, the easiest way to save is you pick a higher deductible. Look, if you've got a $250 or a $500 deductible on your home, your comprehensive or your collision coverages underneath your auto policy or under your homeowner policy, you need to increase those, because you do not need to turn a claim in underneath those amounts. Really, you need to have at least $1,000 deductible, if not higher. Look, depending on how much money you make in a year, there's no reason for you to turn a claim in potentially underneath $2,500. Why? Because any of those claims that are in that category or underneath that, they're going to potentially, cost you over the next several years by you losing a claims-free discount. Almost all policies out there have a claims-free discount, and if you file a claim, you're going to lose that discount that could basically be equal to the amount of that claim that you just got paid. So it's always best for you to not file those small claims. If you have an independent insurance agent like us, we're going to talk to you whenever you turn a claim in or you say, hey, I have this incident that happened. We're going to ask you some questions and make sure that you don't fall into that trap where you file something that's really just going to cost you anyway. We're going to help you to make sure that you make the right decision. One of the direct writers or one of the 800 numbers or one of those cubicle agents that don't know you, they're not going to do that for you. So we've developed a relationship with you. We know you. We work for you. Remember, we work for you as an independent agent. We're going to watch out for you and make sure that you don't file claims that you ought not to. So that's the 4 different things that Dave Ramsey will suggest to you about your insurance. Again, those things are: 1 is get yourself an independent insurance agent. Protect yourself with higher liability limits. Get an umbrella policy. And number 4, different ways that you can save on your insurance. You can trade off, take a higher deductible, get higher liability limits, and it'll work out better for you in the long run on your way to financial peace. So hey, if you like this video, if it helps you out, make sure you hit that thumbs up on the video. If you haven't subscribed to us or hit that notification bell, make sure that you do that every Thursday. Every Thursday, I will post a new video here. And also on our website, I will post a new blog post that's basically the same as the video, but it's in text format if you rather read. Check us out. If you got any comments, suggestions, or any sort of questions at all, hey, leave them in the comment section. I will address every one of those. If there's something else you would like to have advice on or a topic you want me to talk about, leave it in the comments and I will address that also and answer that for you. Hey, until next time, I appreciate you checking out this video and hitting that like button and that subscribe button. Do that right now if you haven't done it yet. And again, I'll see you next Thursday. Have a good day.